Hello everyone, I'm happy you're watching again. Today you see I have some of my diaries, or let's say all of my diaries that I've been writing during my life, starting from when I was 7 years old. And I will chat about the difference between writing journals like these and art journals, and how writing has become a habit in my art journal as well. So in this video, I will show you some of my oldest diary pages. I will also show you some art journal pages in which I included text. I will show you some new art journal pages from my latest journal, Home. And make sure you watch this video till the end, because I have some writing assignments at the end of the video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Turn on your notification bell to see more art videos, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. I have also a contest for you. These are over 100 diaries. That's something I can already tell. But if you can guess the number of diaries that are on my desk right now, you can win a card set with angels. This one. So if you think you know how many journals I have on my desk right now, please write it down in the comments, and this will come your way if you guess the right number. Last week, when I've been searching some portraits for a video about intuitive portrait painting, I found also this little, well, I can say almost it's an art journal, but this is my very first diary. And I'm lucky that my parents gave me this book when I was about 7 years old, 7, almost 8 years old. And why I call it an art journal has two reasons. Because first, I was using text as well as illustrations in this book. And normally, I was a kid with a lot of fantasy, and I was writing little books about ladybugs and bees and rabbits. And I found it very hard to write about reality. But when I got this book, I started journaling and writing down things that were really that really meant something to me. And I was a very thoughtful kid. I was very aware of things that were passing away, and memories, well, that are too important. I don't want to forget them. So this is a day full of accidents. I was really a dramatic kid as well. And this was a day full of accidents. I think there was a fire somewhere. And these are exactly the buildings that I can still recognize, these buildings. So I will just browse through the book. And here you can see that I've been already collecting things that I found or that were important to me. So we went to a theme park, a Dutch theme park, which is called the Efteling. And we also been to a restaurant, so I brought even the placemat. Ooh, this is me, these are my knees. This was a day on the beach, and these were, I think these were jellyfish. We were living, still live close to the beach, and we went there every hot summer's day. And I remember long sunny days with playing in the sand, finding treasures, swimming in the sea. And I don't know what I've been doing with the jellyfishes, but I think it wasn't a good thing. This is about losing teeth, I think. And you can see maybe there are some descriptions next to the pictures, because my mother used to hide the diaries for me, all the things that I've been making. She hid them from me. because she was afraid that I would destroy them later on. But when I found these books, I was scribbling down things in it. So some are in another handwriting, and that means that I've been looking at that in a later period. So here the book was actually full, so I just added new pages. I was really addicted to use tape for everything. This was our rabbit, Knabbel. I will show you a few more things. Cycling a lot. This is my brother. These are my friends. This was an invitation for my rabbit's birthday. So I collected all kind of things, Christmas tree. This is really cool because I asked once when I was visiting my grandma and granddad, I asked my grandmother to write something down in my diary. So this is her text, and this is a drawing by my granddad. So this is really so nice that I still have this. And this is a portrait collection. I haven't seen that last week. So this is a start with collecting portraits or drawing girls. And it's really nice. This is me when I think I was 1 or 2 years old. It says 3, but I think I'm younger then. Without glasses. So this is my very first diary. The second reason why I can call this an art journal is that this one isn't private, it's public. Everyone could read this. Well, it's very ironic that this book is the only one that's got a lock, because this one isn't private at all. The other ones are strictly secret for curious brothers and parents, because all my emotions and struggles were in it. But I simply had to find a good place to hide them where they couldn't find it, because my brother was always looking for the places where my diaries were hidden. And sometimes he found them, and he found things about himself. I can share with you a lovely picture of my brother's legs and underpants, but I will not do that in this video to protect him. But it could be a nice revenge. When I'm about to buy a new diary, I select them on covers. Already when I see a cover of a diary, I know which period it is about. This is a few diaries later. It's the 4th one. So there were 2 more diaries, and at the start when I was writing, there were really big time lapses between the times that I wrote in my diary. So sometimes it was in August and then following by December. So later on I started to write more often, and this is one of the diaries in which I wrote more often. This one I bought in Austria. We went on holiday with a friend, and there was a nice shopping mall full of these books. I have several that I bought in Austria. So this is a friend of mine, and these, I wanted to show you this too, because these are 2 friends. That's me with my book about the rabbit farm, which I showed you last week in the portrait video. This is Mieke, this is also Mieke, and this is Evelien. I collected many things in this book, like you see here, all kind of pictures, and it must sound a bit weird because I said I bought this book in Austria, but I put the Swedish flag in it because I was fan of a pop group, Ace of Base, and they were coming from Sweden. So that's why I put the Swedish flag in it. When I buy a book, I look at the covers, and I really fell in love with these paper blanks books. This is my latest one, and it depends on my mood, what color I want to have, but mostly it's telling something about where I'm in at the start when I buy this book. It's something in my mood. I think I loved gold and red, but sometimes there wasn't really a budget to buy these books because they are quite expensive. Then I just buy a book a very cheap one. I think this one was about 2 or 3 euros. And then I simply put a foreground that I love, and then I have a diary too. I've also done this with a water house. I also put this one on it. I think it's from a necklace or something. So this is really nice to, well, customize my own books. This one, I even made a collage on this one. And here's another nice one. Handmade books and without lines. And kind of poems in it. It gives me more space. This is another one that is really one of my favorites. I bought this one in an art shop. So there's somebody been making this book, and I felt like I want to write for a very long time in it. So I even brought in some columns so I could use this book for a longer time. I really appreciate this one. This is another one. An old picture of me with dreadlocks. I think I was 27. So another one without lines. And this is also a book I really have nice memories. This one is really nice. Pattern playing. And here's another nice one. And sometimes I put some pictures in it, sometimes I don't. It's just depending on my mood. And sometimes I find pictures later on and I glue them down to, well, to show how I was looking at those days, just like the gypsy picture. Okay, there we go. Whee! Writing was always a way to express myself, just like drawing. I could get control of my thoughts. I could write things off of me, analyze things, and came often to a solution. Throughout the years, I never quit writing, but it was always a separate thing. It was on its own. Also, my paintings were separately. They were never with text. I couldn't think about that, but maybe the one behind me that hangs on the wall, maybe I could add some text to that one. Who knows? When I was beginning with art journaling, I sometimes used text, but not that much. Like here, I used the words tea and coffee because that's what this page is about. And I really love hand lettering. As I'm a teacher, I really exercised my handwriting a lot and making nice letters. I really have fun with making fonts. And also in this one, I wanted to add some text because these were the cats at Anne-Marie's house in France. And I wanted to do something with cat fonts here. Les chats de la gamme. And of course, their names had to be in this book. And here, in one of my first art journals, I used a lot of quotes that I found really inspiring. This one is about letting go. It's from Nelson Mandela. And it was also autumn, so I really found that it was, well, really nice. This is from a nun and also a cook, Yang Kwan. And it was about creativity. And then there's a final one in this art journal, which I already showed you last week. And it's the lyrics to a song. So if you don't know what text you want to add in an art journal, using a song or the lyrics from a song is a very nice thing to do. And I added the album cover of Blue, the album from Joni Mitchell. So I thought this was an amazing page to create. And it's a very nice solution. But then we still don't have text that's coming from me. This is the point where my own text was getting into the art journal. I was writing a song about the figs that we found somewhere, or a poem. I don't know what it is exactly, but here it's looking kind of integrated. Here I had a text about the dolmen, the megaliths that were standing well, behind fences, and we couldn't get in and we couldn't touch them at all. So here was the thing I wrote down when I went there and made these illustrations as well. So here is a way to integrate text when you don't want to have it on a full page in the book. Because sometimes I find it still hard to put a whole text in a book because it's very dominant. Here was the start of my journal when we went to Spain, and this was a song that I wrote just before we left, so I thought it could be best at the first page of the book. The second song I wrote during that trip was about the wetlands, and I found a way to integrate it. But still, if this was a painting, for me this was no possibility. It's just because it's an art journal that it can integrate more. But on this page, there's the song Ladybug, and I've hidden the song behind this strap of fabric because I found this piece was too dominant and it didn't match the page. So how to make texts in such a way that they're integrated. So that's really a challenge to me. I will now show you some pages where I've done free writing in my art journal home. So in this book, I really got into the flow of integrating text into my art journal. And there are several ways to do that. It's by putting some notes here. Here I had, well, a vague area where I was writing down with a thin pen, and this was a page about hands, and this was, well, just sayings with hands. It's all in Dutch. Sometimes I write in English too. And here is another text about letting go. I was just thinking about, not really thinking, but it is like when images and words come together, you're not using your analytical part of the brain, but you are more thinking in images and more in an overview about yourself, or sometimes it's an inner voice speaking, and it's really powerful to do this and just think about one particular word and write down. And this is in English, and I mix English and Dutch. I don't know why it is. I am Dutch, but I'm also talking a lot English, and I'm writing in English as well, so you will see in the following pages as well that sometimes I write down things in Dutch and sometimes it's in English. In my mini book I also wrote down a text, and it's about my garden, and I found this is a lovely way to integrate text. This is on a jelly print, and what I've done here, I just started writing about what happened here. I was not thinking too much, I was just writing, and a good way to stay out of your critical mind is to write words behind another, so without spaces. So you write down, and even if you haven't finished the word, you simply go on, continue with that on the next line, and then you write further, further, further. And at the end, you come sometimes to an insight. This was about the plants in my garden, that sometimes you're planting things and they don't come up, and other things that you haven't even planted, they come up. Then we go to zero waste, and I have already shown you these pages, but there is text. I was writing in the free way. I call it free way writing. Some people call it automatical writing, but it's just what's coming up, and I use no spaces. It's just writing down, and it was about these pages. So these pages were my support to know where I could write about. I don't even know where it is about. And to make things more like private or censored, you can overlap it with little paint layers, or overlap it with little parts of, well, this is a salt bag. Here's another part. This is the outline from the map from France, where Anthony has been. So this is about Anthony, who was in France without me. And this is about, well, being alone and being in a different country, and being in a different country myself too. This is also text, but this is just a grocery list, which matched the page very well. This is another way to censor your text. I glued it down, not intentionally, but I glued it down upside down, so you're not able to read it. And another way to censor it is to put it in the middle of the pages, so in the spine of the in the spine of the book, so you can't read it, you can't continue. And this text was written down on a color eater, a thing you put in the washing machine to prevent your wash from coloring. And this was a text that I wrote on Facebook, and I had my first eye migraine. I didn't know that it was that, but it was just a text, a column that I wrote on Facebook for my friends, and I wanted to have something in this secret. Well, these are actually kitchen towels, but there are 2 layers, and this one was, I glued it down, and I tried to glue it down, but it didn't work out. So what I've been doing is I could create a secret layer of this with this text. Here's another one that I've already shown you. This is about mandalas. I didn't intend to write about mandalas. I didn't intend to make jelly prints that became mandalas as well. So this was all very surprising to me, and it was all, well, it all came together. It was very integrated. And here I had an A4 sheet printing paper, and I wrote down a first sentence, missing out on Sunday, and it wasn't very nice text, so I overlapped it, so there are more ways to censor it. I overlapped it with a jelly print on very, very thin paper with birch, paper from the birch, some hortensia leaves, and here I wrote a labyrinth about the same theme, missing out on Sunday. And the nice thing about writing a labyrinth, I have another one here, is that you start somewhere. This is also the first assignment. You start somewhere. You can start from the outside and go inwards, and then you finally have no space anymore to write. So you come automatically to a kind of a solution from what you've been written. And here is another one. This is about the sun and the moon. And I had a really nice lesson here with my art students. You will see their results too. But what I found really remarkable is that we all came to the kind of same solutions. We were all sitting on around the table and we were writing down some things and we were all having a kind of same end conclusion. So it's very nice to do this with more people around you. This is one I've been showing you last time. It's about this girl and she's having music sheets in her throat, and it's about singing and about it's also in Dutch again, but these ones are in English. I don't know why I do that, but you see it's all kind of integrated with the portraits as well. And here is my final page, and here's another way to censor your text. This happened accidentally. I closed the book like this, and then my cat Pearl was sitting on the book while this wasn't dry. So a piece of this text was clinging to the other page. So it's mirrored, but it's also a nice way to censor your text. And if you write on very thin paper, you can glue it on the right side and then you see it mirrored. So I find that is a very nice way to censor. What I've also been doing on this page is cut out some random words from books and magazines, and I put those randomly in the page. Sometimes I create a sentence of it myself. I also did it here. Write a little poem with words you wrote down. So let's go to the assignments that I have for you. The first assignment is based on this page. Write down something about your day. What have you been doing? Which people you spoke to? What have you been thinking that day? And write down something about your day, and then choose one sentence that speaks to you and start the automatically writing. So without spaces, you just write something down. Select nice paper, lines or not. I don't use lines in these books most of the time. So write down something and don't think about what you're writing. You can also write without looking at your page. And when you want to write diagonally, like I did, like this, you can turn the book this way and then you go automatically, you write more in a, school writing. Assignment 2 is to write a labyrinth. So it's handy when you cut out a circle. Mostly I take a plate or a glass or a bowl and I just draw a circle around it, and then I cut it out and I start. You can start like I did from outwards to inwards, but you can also start from the inside out and see what's the difference if you do both. What happens if you begin in the middle of the circle? What happens? It's very interesting. The last assignment, the third assignment, is to write a short poem, for example, a haiku, about something you pictured in your art journal. So I've chosen this page with the beech tree. A haiku is a type of Japanese poem that always uses the same number of syllables in a 3-line format. The first line is 5 syllables, the second line is 7 syllables, the third line is 5 syllables again. Unlike other poems, haikus usually don't rhyme. What I wrote, I first wrote it in Dutch, and then I translated it to English, and coincidentally it was the same number of syllables. In Dutch it is: de beuk staat stevig, jong blad ritselt in de wind, ik voel mijn wortels. The beech is sturdy, young leaves rustle in the wind, I can feel my roots. In my weekly art journaling lesson in the studio, we've also done some of these assignments. So I will now show you the students' results of these lessons. So that was it for this week. I hope I gave an impression to you to use text in your art journal, make it more personal and soulful by using meaningful texts. And it can even be healing. I hope you feel inspired to use text yourself and that you do some of the assignments that I gave to you. So please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it and you feel inspired. And please let me know if you guessed the number of journals here on this table. And I hope to see you next time to show you my final pages of the art journal home. See you. Bye bye.